All right. Thanks for checking out the View from the Pew podcast. We're finding that shorter podcasts work really well. So we're trying to give you a little bit more bite-sized clips. And Guy, um, do you remember the person that gave your high school and college graduation speech? Like, did they bring in a guest star or?
I believe it was an alumnus, from like 20 years previous.
Okay.
He was in middle age, and he kind of just encouraged us to move on.
Get
Right.
out, get out of town or whatever.
And never forget where you came from. So that,
Okay.
I may not remember his name, but I just remembered what he said, and kind of took it to heart.
I can't remember my college one either. I'd imagine it was alumnus. I mean, I
The
didn't go to a big
college one
school.
now is a little different. It was the actual college president who was on his way out because he had cancer. So
Oh,
that was kind of a little emotional one.
okay.
And he didn't last too long after that. So, it was kind of, his name was Hollis Moore,
Oh,
president of Bowling Green. And I think they have a building named after him now.
before we go, in case you're watching us on TV, my cat's behind me. I don't have things coming out my head. I know somebody's going to ask me about that. Yeah, no, that's good. And the bigger the school you get to, sometimes they want to have celebrities. I don't know. I
Right,
mean,
and I think Donald Trump actually spoke to the graduating class of cadets at West Point.
yeah, and I think he actually spoke at Alabama too. I mean, he's been making the
Uh-huh.
rounds.
Yeah, he makes the rounds, and I know Obama made a bunch of rounds. He spoke at Notre Dame, caused some controversy there
Well,
when
and
he was
actually
president.
down here in Central Ohio, I think it was last Friday, Indian Lake, and I'm not sure why Governor DeWine went there. Maybe it was because Indian Lake had a tornado about a year ago, but he spoke to their high school graduates like last weekend. And I bring that up to say, I shared with you a story. Kermit the Frog gave a graduation speech at the University of Maryland, and I'd say let's have more of that.
Right, let's have
Maybe,
fun.
yeah, maybe you're not thinking as much about who your speaker is. I don't know if you need to impress people, but let's stop having the alumnus. I mean, I guess if there's an inspirational story like someone has cancer, yeah, definitely bring that out. But come on, schools, let's try to make this a little bit more memorable. You don't have to always spring for the governor or the president, but don't just say, "Oh, this guy graduated 20 years ago. Here he is."
Right.
I mean, spruce it up a little bit. And good night. Like,
Yeah, graduation ceremonies can be boring enough, and
yeah,
you need some kind of spice in there. Why don't we, get somebody like Kermit? Hey, Kermit has always had good advice on the Muppet Show.
well,
Let's see, what he would tell graduates.
here's the other thing. I hate to obviously we get a lot of young children listening to this podcast. In the journalism world, you're never supposed to say Santa's portrayed by someone. You always want to say, no, it's really Santa.
Right, it's really Santa. Yeah,
Okay, but you can have various Kermit the Frogs. I'm
right.
sure they had the person who does play Kermit the Frog at the University of Maryland, but your local high school, have somebody do the puppet, for Kermit the Frog. It's Kermit the Frog.
And wouldn't you like to get some advice from Charlie Brown?
Yeah. Well, and you don't have to have. I mean, again, have somebody dressed in a Charlie Brown costume,
Right.
or it's like when you go to Disney and you see Mickey Mouse. It's not one Mickey Mouse. It's obviously there's
What
different
better to
people
be
to play
inspired by
with.
Goofy?
Yeah. Or here's the other thing: there's a viral video going around. A little kid loved Donald Trump, and they felt they couldn't get President Trump to come to his party, so they hired an impersonator for Trump to come.
Oh yeah,
And this is someone that liked Trump. I mean, this wasn't let's make fun of Trump. So
right,
let's if you're a high school, let's hire impersonators. I mean,
right.
the president's not going to speak at every graduation out there, but let's.
Who's the guy? Frank Caliente on Fox does
No,
a bunch of. I'm sure he would be available, and he would be anybody you'd want, and
he
at a
could do
better
John
price
Green.
too.
Yeah. Or I would say, too, can we get the funniest person around at the school? And again, it may not be notable, Or if you bring alumnus, bring in somebody that's funny. Don't just sit there and say, all right, this guy was alumnus. I mean, he doesn't have to be a comedian. I mean,
Right.
as a
And I'm
kid,
sure with AI, they're going to bring up people from the past.
oh man, what about that? I did a
Yeah.
story, and man, I got to look back through my notes. I can't remember the company, but there was a story coming to Youngstown about a company in Youngstown that was bringing AI, and what they were trying to do was they would have where they worked with either AI people or they would sit there and say, all right, this guy in California is going to do a concert, but with AI, his body kind of comes in this box.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it looks like the guy is at your event.
Right.
Why
There you
not?
go. And you could
Yeah.
have Elvis coming, sing a few songs, deliver a graduation address.
And what could be wrong with it? I know there's
Nothing.
purists out there going, oh my goodness, Elvis is dead or whatever. Well, we're making this clear, right? We're not like, oh, we resurrected Elvis. He's going to
Right.
speak. And wouldn't that save time for these celebrities?
And
I,
money. You don't have to pay an
yeah,
AI Elvis.
and I'm sure some of these celebrities, like Mike DeWine, wanted to go speak at graduation, but he can't say yes to everybody asking him to speak at his
Right.
graduations.
And he can't always send Trestle.
Yeah, have AI Mike DeWine,
Right.
you're for your local governor. So it doesn't always have to be Elvis or, President Trump or whatever. It could be local celebrities, like your local governor or whatever the case might be.
A mayor, right.
Oh yeah, mayor. Yeah, have the mayor go around.
And I'm sure in the Mahoning Valley, AI Jim Trafficant would be real popular.
Oh yeah, bring back dead celebrities. I think that would be good. And Youngstown, we need to talk about this in another podcast sometime. I guess Youngstown's only having one high school next year.
Yeah. They tried that once before, and it didn't work out too well, so they expanded it to two. So they're going to try it again. Yeah, I think it's going to be just East High School, the one, and Cheney is going to drop back to be like a arts kind of artsy kind of place.
Now Youngstown only has to have one graduation speaker instead of like 3 or 4.
Right.
Wouldn't that be great? So no, I'm all into this idea. Yeah, we got to talk sometime. I'm curious to see what that does with sports. I mean, is Youngstown going to be a much better sports program now since you have one school instead of 4?
Exactly.
It's like you can create an all-star game. Yeah, I know sometimes the city schools haven't done as well, but if you have all 4 come together,
right?
Who knows? Watch, someone every state title next year. You never know. All right, yeah. So let us know. I'm intrigued. I didn't even expect us to go there. So with our graduation ceremonies, AI, think about, and you might be sitting out there saying, I don't want to do AI. I don't have the money to do that. Well, at least bring in somebody entertaining. Look around. If there's a McDonald's clerk that's pretty funny, bring him in.
Right?
Somebody that can make the kids laugh, I'd say. But I like your idea about the creativity of AI. And look, if that company Youngstown, they're talking about making it a lot less for it to happen. So let's get creative. Let's give the kids something that they won't soon forget. So
right.
Well, check us out.
And keep the parents and grandparents awake through the ceremony.
Yes, by all means. I remember, and I feel bad, this didn't cause him to die, but I think both grandparents got sick. At my high school graduation, the grandparents came, and it was mostly dry for the first 80% of the ceremony. But right after, what was it? Right after we got our diplomas, and again, our high school graduate, I can't remember who it was, but it was some dude that graduated 20 years ago, and he kind of came up and gave boring. Well, he went long, and it's like, okay, dude, if you're speaking at a graduation ceremony, unless you're amazing,
keep it short, especially when there's 300 diplomas to pass out.
Well, and what happened was this guy was starting to get dark, and we were like, oh, he better stop. He didn't stop. Torrential downpour. I mean, everyone's soaked, and it wasn't just nice breezy rain. It was like, wow,
right.
It was like Noah's
the hazards of the outdoor graduation in late May or early June, which is the rainy season.
So if you're insistent on having a long speech, get entertained, bring somebody in, and it'll be great. So, all right. Well, like I said, let us know what you think of our crazy ideas here. Give us a like, subscribe, and share with your friends. For guys, this is Chris. Have a great day.
Bye now. All right.